it's a crazy state though. You know, trying to tell a motherfucker, man. You know, there's so many people be one track minded, dog. And you just gotta realize, like, it's not the person's fault that they chasing the wrong thing. The passion are right, the desire might be right, you know, even in particular industry that they interested in. Like when niggas want to be football players, you might love the game of football, but based off your hereditary genes, you might not have been physically built enough to play football or be a fucking defense linebacker or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that you couldn't be the greatest executive in the NFL history and put together the coldest dynasty and get paid more than the players could have ever got paid.
Right.
Who really won?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, we aiming, our aim is wrong, but our artillery's still there. You know, that's the thing people don't really get. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker, I know motherfuckers who like want to be rappers and shit, can't even do songs. Can't even make a song. Can't even make a fucking album. You know what I'm saying?
It's like what you rapping for?
Right, like bro, like that's not the only way in the game. That's not the only way to make millions in this shit, dog. You know what I'm saying? That's not the only way motherfuckers know who the fuck you is. If that's what niggas want. And I was just telling motherfuckers, like, bro, the weakest trait in the motherfucker is the need to want to be validated by others. You know what I'm saying? I just love music. So at the end of the day, you know, in business in general, you gotta reach customers. Period. So at the end of the day, if I could figure out how to align my passion and create music, you know, with some monetary gain, that's what the fuck I'm trying to do. You know, it's no different than if I was to open up a motherfucking t-shirt company or a laundromat or whatever the fuck people do. You know what I'm saying? Niggas be American dream shit, whatever. That's the whole shit. So, but wanting to be famous, the fact that people want to be popular, and they thrive off of the fact that the gratification of people being like, oh, that's so and so, and they got this. Like, you know, that's what it really comes down, dog. That's the real shit. And a lot of people don't even realize that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? That shit's some real, it's like, it's wild, you know? Because I wasted so much time believing in motherfuckers who, like, didn't even, like, where's the goal?
Right, where is the goal?
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people don't even realize, like, where are you trying to go? Like, you say this is what you do, but literally, though, like, your actions don't add up to the outcome you say you want.
Right.
You say you want 5, but it's 2 + 2.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Clearly, something's missing, bro. Like, you don't, you know, and then that's the thing, like, that's why I tell motherfuckers, you know, I don't even, not even to try to be like I personally, I could be the artist. I just don't feel like I'm dumb enough to be like the average artist, the traditional artist, because my expectations can't be exploited. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't give a fuck. You can't tell me that you're gonna make me a star. That's not thrilling to me. That's not appealing to me. Let me know that I could have more publishing than Michael Jackson ever had. Let me know that. Like, oh, then we talking something. You know, let me know, stroke my ego that way with some type of monetary gain, and you know, you can still be a regular person. Like, we make sure that I'd rather work for the record label than be a slave on the label as an artist. You know, I'd rather be able to have a hand on so many different artists' projects. Like, let me come through to a failing record company. Like, not to throw no shade, but you know how the current climate of Def Jam, you know, how don't nobody want to be the president. You know, people's like, oh, is 50 Cent gonna take the job? Different people were just playing with it because technically nobody wanted to take the job. Roy from Joe Budden podcast, everybody was saying like, hey, why don't you try to do it? Nobody wanted to be it. When at a point in time, this was this prestige job. So me personally, I feel like a nigga who would get drafted at this point. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck. You know how the worst teams be getting the best players, you know what I'm saying, to a certain degree. So I go anywhere, you know. If I was to interview for like the president of Def Jam, or like just to have my hand on all the artists on the roster, that's the power. Like, can you create something? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people can't create. A lot of motherfuckers want to be that nigga. They want to be that particular person. But the wildest shit is just realizing like that particular shit you think you want, it ain't meant for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, pass the ball. This nigga 80% from the field. You just want to be a ball hog. When you the one with the best handles on the team. Why don't you play make? Make sure get everybody together. But niggas don't take gratification in assisting, man. When the whole thing is just really about trying to make sure you be there for one another, and that's how we all build. That's how championships get, you know. And just to talk about that, man, I just heard from Miss Tolliver. From DSA, you know, she was my geometry teacher in 10th grade, right? because people only leave me with DSA 9-10. So the funny thing was, I was shocked that she even still remembered me, right? And the funny thing that it even fucked me up, she asked me like, hey, Mr. Lewis, you still that fancy lawyer? She was like, did you ever become, she was like, are you that fancy lawyer, big time lawyer or something? I was like, I didn't even like, it really kind of punched me in the stomach, because you know what I'm saying, I guess I still had a chip on my shoulder about that.
Okay.
But like, the funny thing that was real was, I was like, you know, I ain't necessarily that lawyer. I had to recognize the chip I had then, you know, just getting into that trouble as a juvenile, you know, going to jail for the gun, you know, the felony. So I felt like I needed to compete in the white man world, you know, I didn't want to get into no trouble. I kind of overcompensated with that, with trying to, you know, go to UAD, you know, trying to really compete, you know, with them white boys, until they really showed me, like, you know, some things ain't just necessarily designated for you. Don't mean that I can't make that change, I just didn't have to do it in the courtroom. But just talking to her about it, and for her to say that to me, like 10 years later, just really realizing it, like, damn, you know, like, she like, it kind of fucked me up, you know, but just looking at it, I'm glad where I'm at. I mean, I'm actually in a good place, you know what I'm saying? Everything that she probably remember about me, you know what I'm saying, at that particular time, you know, everything is completely different, you know, so like just the people that I, you know, necessarily associated with, you know, that she could probably remember, and like I said, it's just a beautiful space. A lot of people don't never get to that point, like those little kid dreams that you necessarily had, like it goes back to what I was just talking about, like figuring out what you want to do, you know, like me personally, I needed to know what a lawyer knew or get some type of perspective of it, but when I was actually in the midst of learning how to be a lawyer in school for it, I realized that it didn't allow me enough time to be creative, which was something that was always who I was, that I could be a better lawyer on TV. So I could write a better lawyer TV show, better lawyer movie, and it can impact people, you know what I'm saying? So it's about the message, it's not necessarily what part you're playing, you know, and a lot of people don't understand that, you know, so that's passionate for me.
It's you, it's you, you know you're my favorite, I'm going crazy, it's you.
I'll take it with a grain of salt, I'll take it with a
Oh, no, 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 no.
Yeah, I'm fly nigga in there. I'm damn funny. I she used to have a man, I'm the man. Yeah, I keep it straight, the diamonds gray, shining like a chandelier. But would you love a nigga if I wasn't in the Panamera? If a nigga couldn't hit the jeweler just to cop the mule, would you still?